All right, in 3, 2, 1.
Go! This is the podcast!
Are you telling me that you built a time machine out of a podcast?
I have come here to chew bubblegum and
podcast.
And I'm all out of bubblegum.
Hey everyone, welcome to Get to the Podcast. Let's get to the podcast with the number 2. My name is Thiago de Souza.
I'm Nick Gambino.
And I'm Neal Carson.
And this is the Endgame, bitch. I don't know what that means.
I don't know. I feel like you've had that plan for like a day, and that's the best you can come up with.
No, I was snapping all day.
You were snapping? Snapping?
Finger snapping.
Finger snapping.
There's so much snapping in this movie.
There's actually, it's just,
I
the
feel that
focus
should
of
have
the
been
two
a
movies
line.
all revolve around a snap.
I feel that should have been
Yeah.
a line. Oh, snap.
Yeah.
Oh man, that would have been terrible.
That would have been bad.
That would have
been
tanked the
so-
movie. It would have made $1 billion less.
You know, it would have been funny because that's
So
what
technically,
made the
this,
movie
even
fail.
though they're saying it's the highest grossing film and James Cameron acknowledged them, like if you take into consideration inflation, then it's not.
Yeah.
But James Cameron still conceded and was like, fine, whatever.
That was great, that little
The
meme.
US dollar is garbage now compared to what it was in 97, so fine, take your
You
word,
really want to
whatever.
compare euro to euro, man. No.
So
Wow.
I sent you guys the picture that the studio put out, the Titanic studio put out.
Yeah.
Which
he-
was awesome. Which
He sent him
says-
like a poster or a plaque
that was
or
James
something?
Cameron.
James Cameron, yeah. He sent him a poster of the Titanic sinking, and it said it took superheroes to sink the Titanic.
Yeah, it was a good comment. Like,
That's
he was
awesome.
very,
Endgame.
humble. Like, he held the top 2 spots.
Yeah,
But
like
Yeah.
let's just really look at it for a second. And this is not to rag
But
on
it did
Endgame.
it
Endgame
fast,
was really,
too.
it did it really fast.
like Avatar took months. Titanic
Yeah.
took even longer to get to where it was.
No,
Yeah,
I mean, it's an amazing accomplishment, and I loved Endgame, honestly. I thought it was just like a masterful, like, that was so, like, that's a fucking hard story to tell into film. But let's also just look at the fact that that took 11 years and 21 movies prior to it to even build up to that point. You know what I mean? So it's not really that it did it fast, but it did it
22
fast.
movies? 23?
Yeah, 20. It was his 22nd movie.
22
Yeah.
So this is like, it went really fast, but it really took 11 years. If you really look at it, like, it was all building to this point.
yeah.
That's
And
from the first film.
Titanic
That's not
was
even-
literally an original
He
film.
just dropped the bomb. Like, here's
Yeah.
Titanic,
Yeah.
and then it becomes the highest grossing film of all
Exactly.
time.
Avatar, original. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And yes,
Yeah.
those had, like, Titanic was based on an event, but the whole storyline they told in that, they just used that as a backdrop. Like, that premise of the Titanic sinking was just a backdrop to a story, a love story, really.
By the way, in case you guys didn't know, we're
Tricked
talking
us.
about Endgame.
Oh yeah, we're late. We're doing Avengers Endgame. Actually, we did one when it
Diego
dropped.
just saw it.
But Diego finally saw it because he's.
I did? Did I? No.
This
I,
is what
You saw it
happens.
a couple weeks ago.
I saw it a couple
This
weeks
is what
ago.
happens when you cross 40. You just start giving a shit a little less. You're late on everything.
How the fuck when am I late? I'm so
This guy.
OCD and being on time on
Are
shit.
you?
I am. I can. I
I've
do not-
never.
My wife.
Everything we've ever done together, I've always shown up where
Early.
you are. Like, I always show up early, but I go to where you are. So I don't
Yeah.
think I've ever scheduled you to come to where I am. Like,
no, you have. I just never came. That's.
This is sounding oddly sexual.
No.
Okay, go ahead. What were you gonna say? You finally saw Endgame.
I finally saw. Oh, we're just gonna throw it right back.
Yeah, we're
in.
just gonna go back.
I finally saw it. I thought it was great. I have so much respect for the studios that have built Marvel, the universe, because it's just to tell those type of stories, which before them weren't really that popular. They were popular. They had their followings, but it wasn't like a really top tier storyline that people would go to. You know,
Yeah.
there would be a group of people, like a big group of people that would go watch Spider-Man. There'll be but
there was a handful of like
there
X-Men,
was a
X-Men,
yeah.
Spider-Man.
Spider-Man, yeah. They were great films.
Batman.
People went and watched it. I'm not saying anything to demean them, but Marvel Studios did something different. They recreated the universe. And I always bow to them when it comes to how they told their stories. It was phenomenal. Yeah. It's just phenomenal. It's incredible. I give them so much props in how they tell their stories. And like you said, for 11 years, for them to like connect everything almost perfecly is incredible. It's
and
just
each film was made like at least $500 million.
Exactly.
Like, it's crazy.
There was like there was one that wasn't that successful, which was it Marvel? Captain Marvel? Or,
No, I think
Captain Marvel made money.
Yeah, Captain Marvel made a lot of money.
or wasn't Iron Man?
The Thor movies always made a little less, except for Ragnarok did better.
It was Thor 2. That's
Ant-Man.
the one that didn't do so well.
Yeah. But it was fine. Like their worst movies are still
It wasn't
fine and
bad,
good, you know. There's definitely like a lower tiered ones, like I think Thor: Dark World was okay, but I think Thor Ragnarok blew all those Thor movies away.
Yeah.
I think the Captain America movies were better. I like Ant-Man 1, Ant-Man 2. I was a little like
My favorites have always been Captain America's film.
Yeah, those Captain America films are good.
They're
They
just
set the
great.
standard, and if you really look at the second one, Winter Soldier was directed by the guys who ended up doing these last two Avengers movies, and they did Civil War. So some of the best of the movies were directed by the Russo brothers.
Yeah, yeah.
And two of them were Captain
I love
America
Civil
movies.
War.
Yeah, Civil War was solid. That was basically an Avengers film.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I love how they flipped it on its head, and that movie was not about some big baddie coming in, and
It's about this guy.
it was about this guy who basically he'd lost his family in this wreckage created by the Avengers. So he's like, but I'm gonna tear them apart from the inside.
Yeah.
And
Wait, isn't that what happened in the Batman or Justice League? No, not Justice League. Was it Batman?
Justice League was torn
versus
apart
Superman?
by the
yeah,
creators.
Batman versus Superman. The whole thing is about when Superman was fighting Zod.
Yeah.
They destroyed a lot of the city.
And then Batman is like, I'm going to kill Superman because he killed all my employees at Batcorp or
basically
Wayne
at
Enterprise.
Wayne Enterprise, Backcourt. Yeah, they're like,
I'm sorry
I
to
swear
say-
I'm not
I
Batman,
just
but
feel like
yeah.
I see the exact same premise. Yeah,
I'm sorry to
It's
say
a
they
very
don't-
different premise for
They
the
shouldn't
two.
be in this conversation.
But they did come out around the same time period, and it was like these.
That's not bad.
it was bad.
Batman versus Superman?
No, it was a fine movie.
That's a solid
It was
movie.
not Civil War though. Civil War did it right.
It was
Civil
nothing
War-
close to any of the Marvel films. I don't think.
I remember
the only one
thinking
that
Civil War was okay.
I think if you rewatch it, you'll see it's actually one of the best.
I'll
of
see
the-
on the second
DC had
viewing.
two films
It's a
that
masterpiece.
came
You did that with
close.
Rogue Nation. You
That's
thought
it.
Mission Impossible Rogue Nation wasn't that good. You rewatch it, you're like, I don't know what I was talking about.
So
This is a good
DC
movie.
had two films that
that's
came
true.
close to Marvel. That was Wonder Woman and that was Aquaman. That's literally the only.
I don't
two.
think Aquaman comes close to it personally.
I think they did. I think Aquaman.
I
was
liked
very
Aquaman, but I don't.
Aquaman is as good as a lot of the like
lower
Ant-Man
tier.
movies, the
I
Doctor
don't know about
Strange.
Ant-Man. That
I like
first
Doctor
Ant-Man.
Strange a lot actually,
I
but
did
I just
too.
like the context.
They're
of
as
that,
good as
not
Thor
necessarily-
movies. I compared them to Thor movies because it literally was like an underwater Thor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Exactly.
but Wonder Woman still holds the.
Yeah, Wonder
Great
Woman is
place
the
for
best out of the newer ones.
Yeah.
I agree. I actually thought Wonder Woman was really good.
Yeah.
But
So we- are
none
we-
of them beat the Dark Knight trilogy, obviously, but that's not connected.
Yeah, it's funny because I was thinking about it and I was like, where does this rank for me? Like Endgame as far as like superhero movies, and I still think it's underneath like the Dark Knight trilogy and Spider-Man 2. I still, for me, think it's underneath that,
Yeah,
but
and that's
it's
it.
in that like category.
I get it totally. Yeah.
Which I wouldn't include any of the.
and
other
by the way,
Marvel
this
movies
is
in that.
amazing that Neil's saying this. Let's like actually take a
I
moment.
know, I
and
was
He's
see
happily
this.
talking about Marvel.
Although everything I said, it just happened differently. Everything I said about Infinity War, that they'd snap them all back.
Endgame.
Everything was this we spoiling?
Yeah, we're spoiling.
We're
This is
spoiling.
spoiler.
It's
This is
been
spoiler
weeks. This
film,
is
yeah.
why we held it
Yeah,
off.
they released that Spider-Man trailer with like a massive spoiler in the first 5 seconds.
they
of
said
it.
The only
don't watch
reason you
it.
don't
It
know
was-
shit about Endgame right now is because your phone is dead. Or
Yeah,
you
that's
don't
true.
have a
It's hard-
computer.
it's hard to not get
Or you've been.
exposed.
I mean, they're
farming all
spoiling
day.
Game of Thrones season finale and that series finale, and
Instantly.
that came, weeks
Every
later.
episode was like an instant spoiler.
Yeah,
Like
exactly.
nobody cared at all.
Yeah.
Whatever. I don't care. I don't
Yeah.
care. Keep
Anyways,
talking
but
about this.
Endgame. Let's get our opinions. So what'd you think of it?
I really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't get all like I talked to a lot of people that were like getting emotional and
Yeah.
choked up in different moments
Yeah.
of the film, but I didn't. I mean, I could see that it was sad.
Yeah.
But-
I got emotional during.
I just don't have that kind of connection
funeral
with any of these characters really, but I really enjoyed the humor and the total flip that this film is versus Infinity War, which I feel like
Yeah.
is a much darker, sadder movie.
Yeah.
In this movie, it's like even though all this horrible shit happened, it is a sad concept.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like even with Thor, like right in the beginning, like in the first spoiler. So
Little
in the
bad.
first 5 minutes of the movie, they find Thanos, chop his head off.
Yeah.
Thor does.
Yeah.
Like a psycho.
Yeah.
He just has a fit of rage and he just chops the head off or whatever. And then he's like, that was probably dumb. It's like that was stupid. Like, how are we gonna undo this shit now?
Right.
Like, I just, and everybody was kind of like upset with him, like, what the fuck are you doing?
Right.
And then it just goes on. You're like, this is depressing. But then it like the way they handle it, it's fucking hilarious.
just-
Like his
yeah, the
denial
storytelling.
and his like spiral into
He's
video
Lebowski.
games, and he becomes a big Lebowski
Yeah.
essentially. Like it's great.
Yeah.
It's great. I loved it. I, that whole aspect I loved.
That
They
was
just know
hilarious.
how to carry a story. It's
And just
incredible.
the whole Back to the Future 2 thing where
Oh
they
my
go
god,
back
where they're
and-
trying to explain that that's bullshit
Yeah.
and that there's only ever now, but you can go back in time and that's your new now.
Yeah.
I'm like,
so
that
awesome.
actually makes sense. Like I like the way they explain that. That was smart.
they I think they approached time travel right. They made it a little different. They tried to acknowledge all the other pop culture stuff, which is try to explain it to us, and kind of been like,
You
that's
tell
not
me Back to the
really
Future's bullshit.
That's right.
I think that was great
Was
that,
that Don
they did
Cheadle?
that because they
Was
set it
wasn't
up in case
wasn't
it
Paul
was
Rudd said
quirky.
that?
Oh, it was Paul Rudd. Yeah.
Is that?
Yeah, it was Paul.
Yeah.
In case it was quirky
Yeah.
and people had issues with it,
You kind of-
they made this statement.
yeah.
It's a huge premise, and literally they shit on Back to the Future. Like they have a
Yeah.
conversation shitting on Back to the Future, and then they basically do Back to the Future too.
Yeah.
The rest of the movie
Where
is
they're
all
trying to
Back to
avoid
the Future
themselves.
too. Yeah,
Yeah.
they're trying to
Yeah,
avoid
yeah.
themselves. I'm like,
You might as well give Captain
fucking
America a hat,
hilarious.
sunglasses, and a walkie-talkie. You know, and a leather jacket. Doc.
oh my god.
So
it was great.
But that whole scene when he fights himself, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That whole America's ass thing is funny. And
Yeah.
it just,
Yeah.
that's America's ass.
That is America's
That-
ass.
That is America's ass. That was just a great scene. It was cool seeing them fight each other. And then you kind of like, because Avengers came out 7 years ago, the original
Yeah.
one. And it was awesome when it came out. It's still awesome, but it's really interesting to kind of see them recreate some of those moments and see
Yeah.
the difference between then and now. And
Yeah.
go, oh, this has progressed. Like this has gone
Yeah.
further. Even like just seeing him fight himself like in the other suit is interesting, you know?
Also, it's the fact that it's 5 years later. Like they chop
Yes.
off Thanos' head, and then on the screen it's just like 5 years later, and you're like, what the
Yeah.
fuck? And Earth is like, it's just like because half
At
the
a
planet's gone,
standstill.
so it's just like Earth's still
Yeah.
all fucked up because nobody lives there. Or whatever.
Yeah. Well, also, if you just
Well, it's
think of the fact that
50%, yeah.
if 50% of the
Yeah.
people on Earth die, right? You have certain electrical grids going
Real
down.
estate
You have
is
people
not
running
doing
this,
well.
planes crashing. You have, you know what I mean? Like literally,
You had a lot of destruction.
yeah,
and,
people who are
know,
handling certain things, and then
that turned resources over. No, and then I feel like they were explaining they were dealing with something. There was something happening on Earth during that time that the Avengers were still trying to handle issues and things, or maybe it was like uprisings, like different.
Yes.
Like
Yeah.
different.
Hawkeye was down in
guerrilla groups
Mexico or
whatever,
wherever.
Yeah.
Well, Hawkeye was
People
off
trying to
doing
take
his own
advantage.
thing.
Yeah, he was
just going to kill all
bad people.
bad people.
They were
Yeah,
taking care of
yeah.
people who were doing like bad things and stuff. So.
Yeah.
Yeah, they were trying to keep things together. You know, Cap was like in tune with some of the different people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Captain Marvel was off planet, and you had everybody's doing something, and
Right.
then Tony's off raising a family. I
Yeah.
love that idea. I love that they took him, and they just basically he's off that. He's off that mission. He's got his
But
kid. He's raising his kid out in the middle of nowhere, and he finally found his peace.
Yeah.
and his happiness.
Yeah,
with
that
his
was
wife and
cool
kid.
because that essentially that whole sequence, which is a chunky part of the movie, like sets up what
the
happens to him at the
emotional
end.
curve at the end. Yes.
Connection
Yeah.
at the end. Yeah.
But you're also okay with it,
Yes.
because you got to see that he got to actually experience this thing. Because his whole arc is that him and was it Penny?
Pepper
Pepper.
Potts. Penny.
Who's Penny?
Penny Lane. Well, there's Penny from.
It's probably from one of these comic books.
Yeah, there's a Penny.
Pepper. Yeah. So Pepper Potts. Yeah.
Penny's from Bond.
no, that's Money Penny.
Money Penny.
What-
Yeah.
Is that
There's
who you're
Penny
thinking?
in there.
Yeah, Money.
Maybe.
there's Money.
Maybe that's what I was
Which is
thinking of.
what the fuck's with that name, Money Penny? That's like house door. Like, what are we?
I wonder if that's actually in the book.
It's kind of how you
Probably.
tell a character story. She's worth money, but just a penny.
Oh, that's fucked up.
Wow.
Well, that is how he treats women.
That is
and her.
well, that's how he treats. Well, he
He's
doesn't-
actually better
No,
to
he
her.
treats her like really
No,
well.
he flirts with- it's
that's the
definitely-
only one that he
It's
treats
workplace
correctly.
sexual harassment.
But there's only one movie, I
It's
think,
workplace
one of the
sexual
Pierce
harassment.
Brosnan ones where they like hook up, but it's,
It was
like,
just-
it's not real. It's like virtual. Like
Right.
she's in a virtual machine.
She has a
and
different
Bond.
value to him, though. He's always treated her.
Yeah.
Majority of the time, he's always treated
It's very
her.
flirtatious, but he
Right,
never
yeah.
actually. slept
But he
with
knows
her.
that he's never gonna get with her. It's always
Yeah.
like a fun thing between them two, like a friendship.
It's a workplace sexual harassment, though.
That's what it is.
Definitely.
Yeah. That is definitely what it is.
But
Tickle my berry.
You were saying,
Oh, yeah, because there was always that arc in the Iron Man movies where he could never stop like saving the world to be with her.
yes,
Yeah.
And she was always waiting for him, waiting. So in this, it's like, oh, well, the world's dead, and the bad guy won, killed everybody. So fuck it, let's have a family, right? So. And that's what they did.
yeah.
We can
And he
watch
has the little
Netflix
girl,
on my
and
suit.
they did such a good job of setting up his relationship with his daughter. You know what I mean? With those few scenes there, and like even the "I Love You 3000" thing, people kept saying that over, and almost like they're gonna do the Wakanda Forever thing, where they're gonna ruin it for everybody by constantly repeating it outside of the movie. But in the movie, that's a good scene. That whole "I Love You 3000"
There's a
thing.
lot
It's
of
cute.
interconnected.
It's cute.
There's a lot of like, it's
Because that's the thing.
well-written,
It's just him and his daughter, and that's it's cute. It doesn't have to be anything beyond that. But they did a good job of they had a chemistry as a father-daughter thing, and you could tell how much he loved her.
Well, here's the thing that this is why I'm always amazed with how they write stuff is because they interconnected things that happen within movies to their relationship, like the whole scene with the burger at the end after Iron Man's gone.
Yeah.
First Iron Man,
yeah.
first fucking Iron Man. He after he comes back from being,
He's eating the burger on the thing with the press.
he's like
around
all
him.
he wants is a burger.
Yeah, and he's eating it with the whole press surrounding him.
Yeah, exactly.
In the first
You know,
Iron Man.
There's all that.
Yeah.
By
But
the way,
Didn't they do a scene
by the
in
way, Captain
Avengers where
America-
they're all eating the?
that's at the end of the first
I don't know if
Avengers.
they're eating burgers or whatever.
They're eating at a halal place or like a falafel
place. Yeah.
By the way, that scene with Captain America is sitting in doing the counseling thing.
Yeah.
One
The
of
support group?
the Russo brother was in there.
Yeah,
That
that's
was
right.
pretty
He's one of the
cool.
guys
Yeah.
talking.
He was
Yeah.
one of the
Yeah.
guys talking. That was pretty
Yeah, I
cool.
think he played
He's done a couple
gay
parts,
guy.
right?
He's actually like a gay guy, I think. Was it?
I don't know. He's
I
done
think
a
that
couple-
there was a point, like the openly gay character in a Marvel movie, and that was his character, I believe,
Yeah.
was it. Yeah. What did you say,
He's
Kevin?
been in there. He's been in a couple films. Once somebody told me about that, I checked it out, and he's been in a couple scenes.
Yeah, he's shown up.
It's very interesting.
Yeah.
cool.
But yeah, so they set up with the daughter and
Yeah.
Tony Stark, and at the end, again, spoiler alert. This is a spoiler-filled podcast.
You should probably say that in the beginning.
Yeah, we kind of
We did.
We
We
did
did.
before we really spoiled anything.
Like I
But
said,
Tony-
if you have not seen the film right now, I'm very sorry that you live in a tree.
Yeah. So Tony has that thing. Then Tony in the past has to go back and he ends up encountering his father.
Yeah.
Yeah,
His
which is
father
cool.
it's about the time his father, his mother's going to give birth soon to him.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
he's meeting his father right before he's
Like
born.
the anxiety of being a dad.
And it almost closes this, it gives him closure on this relationship with his dad, which was never handled, like
Yeah.
never fixed. And this was a big issue with him, and a big hole inside of his soul was this unresolved relationship. And he's
Yeah.
able to resolve that in a nice way, like in a way that's sort of like,
yeah.
you
They
know,
basically
his
are
dad
doing
kinda-
everything they can to set up the audience to be okay with him
yes,
dying.
Yes, which is what happens at the end.
He's getting
does die.
resolutions.
He
Yeah.
saves us all. He's the first Avenger. You know, I mean
not
I guess
us.
you know, you had Captain America was the quote unquote first Avenger.
We're
No,
good.
us. We're good. No, this
We're
really
not-
this is real. This is a documentary.
This isn't a
documentary. So
He saved us.
he was
Diego,
he was the
saved us.
start of
Yes.
it, right? With Iron Man, and
Yeah.
he's also the guy who made the last move to save everybody. You
Yeah.
know, where he takes the gauntlet and he snaps his finger,
But
and
you
it takes
know,
him out. He gives his life for it.
when he does that last snap, it tears space time, and then all the different comic books worlds start falling together.
Yeah,
Isn't that
man.
what happened next in the comic book universe?
No, that's what happens in League of Legends.
No.
They always go back, try to
there's
fix
a-
something,
There's a
and always
tear in space or something. That's the next 10 years is going to be this whole thing where like the X-Men are like in the world of Marvel or
Yeah.
something.
Yeah, there is a thing to that multiverse.
That's
thing.
The
Le-
multiverse,
Have you
yeah.
ever
Which is
seen like
Spider-Man into Spider-Verse
League of
is about
Legends?
multiverses and stuff like that. It's not connected to that.
I think the new
incident.
Spider-Man movie though addresses that with
Yeah, it's
it's
in the new
Spyro.
trailer. It's in the trailer.
Yeah, it's in a different
trailer,
verse. Yeah.
That's where Mysterio came from. Jake Gyllenhaal's
Mysterio,
character. Yeah, in the new movie. But
But
that whole
have you guys ever
scene-
seen League of Legends?
No.
The whole premise of that
It's a
series.
game, right?
No, it's
No, it's
the series. DC
it's a
series.
CW fucking show.
Is it?
Yeah.
So I watched a couple just to see how they do.
Confuses me.
I'll watch
I don't
CW.
understand what this guy watches. I don't understand things. He
No, no,
shits
no,
on
no,
one
no.
thing and then he
Do
goes
you
watch
stream
League of
it or do you watch it live?
I just
it's
saw it on
fine.
Netflix.
Yeah.
And I
Oh,
watched
okay.
it one day, and it was the premise is very interesting because
I
they
could've
always
swore
go
that's
to.
that's a mobile game, League of Legends.
No, there's
Not a mobile game?
There might be a game. I don't
Okay.
know. No, there is a big like popular game.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's
nothing to do with this. League
Not
of
it.
Legends.
Okay. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I didn't even know there was a show.
So the whole premise of the show is that they go back in time to try to fix something, but it
LOL.
always fucks.
what?
LOL.
What's LOL?
League of Legends.
Yeah.
I just wanted to say that. That was great.
Oh.
Brought to you by LOL.
LOL.
So they go back in time to try to fix something, but it always fucks up something else in the timeline. So they have
Yeah.
to go there to fix it. But when they go there, they fuck something else up, and that's the whole premise of the show.
Yeah.
So that's,
I mean, it's the same the Back to the Future thing.
Yeah.
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 That is that whole thing. It's the alternate timeline that you created, the alternate 1985.
Yeah.
That whole thing.
It's basically like Doc saying to Marty and Back to the Future 2, like, you can't go back in time, you change things, you fuck everything up. I wish I never made this machine. And at the end of like Back to the Future 3, they're like, well, I thought you said blah blah blah. And he's like, I thought, what the hell?
That's literally his
like,
explanation.
Yeah, I don't care if
Like,
the world blows
I wanted a
up and-
family and I wanted to see everything in history.
My one little going back and me taking this woman out from the 1885, like Hitler, survived, and like continued to take over. Like,
but at
that's the
least I
result.
had a good time.
Yeah. What the
Yeah.
hell?
Yeah.
What the hell?
That's like eating the apple off the tree, Adam and Eve.
Yeah,
That's what
yeah,
that is.
basically,
That's
yeah.
for your own pleasure.
Fuck
You
it.
fucked humanity. You
What
damned
the
us all. You bitch.
They can't ripple that.
I'm talking about the guy. Adam's a bitch, huh?
They can't ripple that much.
I don't know. But yeah, so that whole I am Iron Man and the snap at the end,
Yeah.
and then he saves everybody. But the scene that got me was, it wasn't the funeral scene. It was the specific scene where the hologram of him, like the recording, and he's talking to them. And
Yeah.
he talks to his daughter at that moment.
Of course.
I lost it.
Of
I
course.
lost it.
You
I
have
mean,
a daughter.
I mentioned that before, but I feel like I think
He's
that
like
would have been
prepping
emotional.
his hologram right now.
Yeah, I would. that's fucking dark. I think I would have.
Now's the time when you're
responded.
young.
Yeah, I think I would have responded to that in that way, even if I didn't have a daughter, because that's an emotional scene. Like when he.
Oh, yeah, no,
you
I got
can see
emotional.
that
I got
because
emotional.
we
Yeah.
are sons, right? Like
Yeah.
we have parents. Like there is a thing
Me and
to
Tiago
that.
better get holograms.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
But it's a sad.
Yeah.
No, I get
moment.
it. No,
Like,
it's
I got
sad, but
emotional on it,
his
'cause
the
it's
way
like-
he handles it, I think, is perfect.
Yeah,
though.
he
He's
doesn't
like
get all,
normal
like-
Tony Stark. He doesn't get emotional as a character. He's just
Yeah.
like matter of fact,
right.
which is a better way, I think, to handle it than the
Yeah.
daughter can remember him how he was and not
Yeah.
as,
Exactly. Like he's
him
talking to her.
regret
He's
and all
talking to her
this.
like he would talk to her.
Yeah.
And that was great.
And
yeah.
she's like young enough where like once she's an adult, she's not even gonna remember himself. No.
That's
Yeah.
fucked up. She will remember him. No.
I mean,
No.
she'll have like moments
I
that
know.
she remembers.
No,
but,
I know people- yeah,
she's
she'll-
talking about getting hamburgers and cheeseburgers at the end at a funeral. I'm like, dude, your dad just died. You talking about getting cheeseburgers?
But that
I
was the
understand why.
Yeah, that was a cool scene.
But I'm like, she's like 3 years old. How old?
No, she didn't
she's like
ask for
5.
it.
She's 5.
She's 5.
Oh, she's 4. She's 4 because
Four.
it's 5 years later, and he has her, and I think he had her
4
within a
years.
year.
That was
Yeah.
because Happy
young.
asked her.
Yeah, Frankie's
That was
almost
because
4.
Happy was sitting there and he told her, I'm here for
Oh,
you.
no,
I'll
I
do
know.
anything. You need anything? And
But it's like
I want a burger.
it's as a little kid
Fucking
at a
Happy
funeral. Like
tried
I
to
went
slide
to
in.
my great grandmother's funeral, and I was just like, I don't know what was going on. Like I knew her, I'd met her, but then she passed, and then it was just wasn't enough. for
First
me.
funeral I
remember
went to
being
was
there,
my
but
grandmother's funeral. I was 7 years old, and I got the weight of it. But
Maybe I was younger,
Later,
I don't
when I
know.
got older, more funerals, I got it more and more. But yeah, I was 7, so maybe 4. I think but it was her dad, the guy who put her down every night. He lived there with her. He didn't go off working. Like he spent 4. There's a difference between a dad dying at 4, but he had a 9 to 5.
Yeah,
This is a
yeah.
guy who was with her all day, every day.
Yeah.
There was you don't get the idea of
That's true.
schooling or anything else. Yeah, so there's a difference, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would say the only, and I don't even want to include this as a criticism because the whole movie is like, once you're like okay with like the time travel and all this stuff, so you basically just have to let everything else go. But they, come up with this thing where like, oh, Ant-Man shows up and maybe we can do this thing. Maybe we can go into the shrink world or whatever it's called.
The shrink world.
Diego's theory was correct. And Shrink can go back in time or whatever, where they turned into atoms or
Oh,
whatever.
The
I forget what they call it.
The
They use the term.
Phantom Zone.
Yeah,
no,
something
it's not
like
the
that.
Phantom Zone. It's
Yeah.
dude, I'm
But when they give it to,
zoning.
they present it to Tony, and then like literally in minutes, he's like, "I've solved time travel." Like he's
Yeah.
like, "I figured it out," and he
Yeah.
goes see the Pepper. He's like, "I figured it out," and then she's like, "Well, what are you gonna do?" And
Yeah.
but I'm like,
That was a
They
quick
did
moment.
set
this
that up,
guy
though.
I get
just
that. That was
just
a quick
figured
moment.
it
Yeah.
the fuck out like that quick.
They set that up though. The guy is like literally the
Like
smartest man on
they
earth.
sent
no.
Hulk.
Like,
who did they send
for
back in
11
time?
years.
Oh, they sent Ant-Man back in time, and he came back as a baby, an old man.
That
and all
was
this shit
hilarious.
happened.
That was
I
hilarious.
like,
That was
they didn't know
hilarious.
what the fuck they were doing, and then Tony figures out in like 10 seconds.
And when he
I'm
arrives,
like,
that's what he mentioned. Did he come back as a baby or whatever? Like
Yeah.
he said, he knows exactly what you did wrong. But realize this is Tony.
And he said, I
this
don't-
is the smartest guy.
I peed in my
on
pants,
the planet. Like,
but I
he's
don't know
done
which
this
one
shit.
of them he
Like,
did.
He
Remember
created
that?
an Iron
That
Man
was
suit.
awesome.
He created an Iron Man suit out of nothing in a cave.
Yeah.
Tony Stark was able to make an Iron Man suit in a cave, and we can't. Remember that was Jebediah or whatever. the
Jebediah,
fuck-
yeah.
Whatever is Jeff Bridges' character in
Jeff-
the original Iron Man. Tony Stark was able to figure it out in a cave,
We can't
Remember
do. Yeah.
No, I don't.
But the whole point he
I
was
saw that
making is
movie
he had-
like when it came out.
Oh,
I
it's
haven't
great.
seen it
Rewatch
since.
it now. It's actually still a really good movie. It's one of the
Yeah.
best. But Jeff Bridges, who's the villain in that film, he makes a point. He's like, he's got all these scientists working on this whole thing, the arc reactor, the suit, doing this whole thing.
Yeah.
And he's like, they can't figure it out. And he's like, but Tony Stark, it's the arc reactor.
I remember. Yeah.
That's
how he
power.
builds his heart thing or whatever.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
That thing literally activates everything, is the source for everything. And they can't figure it out. And he's like, he was able to do it with nothing but trinkets. I think that's what he says, trinkets in a cave.
Yeah.
And like that gave you the idea right then, 11 years ago, Tony Stark is like fucking genius.
Genius, yeah.
He is a genius. So it makes sense,
true.
but again, they did have to skip over it quick because it's already a 2 hour and 45 minute
It could have been
movie.
longer. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't even think they needed to explain that.
2 hours and
more, but
45.
That seemed really fast.
No, it was 307.
Was it 307? Yeah, that's right. I think you're right. It was an over 3 hour movie. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's a point when you have to kind of go, okay, we can't just sit there and do it 20 minutes on every fucking thing. But I get what you're saying. It
I
did
wonder if
happen
they're going to do a
fast, but-
Prometheus
But other than
Blu-ray
that, I mean-
release where there's like 8 hours.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sure they will. Like that's now that this movie's made what $3 billion or something.
It was
insane?
over $2 billion.
It's definitely over $2 billion.
It hasn't crossed 3, but it's over $2 billion.
It's like everyone in the world was like terrified of having it spoiled for them, so they all went and saw it at the same time.
Yeah, that's exactly
Everyone
what
that's
happened.
going to see it has seen it.
They had 24-hour showings in a lot of theaters. It's
Yeah,
crazy.
yeah.
But let's talk about the Hulk real quick. I actually love the
Smart Hulk?
Smart
Yeah,
Hulk.
Smart Hulk.
So I grew up on comics, and when I was growing up, the Hulk was smart. Like the Hulk was able to talk. He was a fully functioning Hulk.
Yeah.
That whole Hulk smash thing was kind of gone from the comics when I was reading them. I had older ones that had him doing that, but by the point I was reading it, they had that kind of meld between Bruce Banner and the Hulk. And
Yeah.
he had like a woman, and he was doing his thing.
She-Hulk.
It wasn't She-Hulk, no.
No.
She-Hulk is a character, but he had a human, woman.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, he put his big green thing in a human woman.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
He laid that
Is
hammer.
she still alive?
Yeah, he took Thor's hammer and no.
What?
Is she still alive? I don't know.
What the?
He's like a fucking monster.
Hey, somebody's banging the mountain. Okay, so I don't know.
That's true. Have you seen those photos of the mountain's girlfriend? She is like
3
up
feet
to like his
tall.
leg. Like she's like up to his kneecap.
I know it's scary.
I'm like, dude,
I feel like that should be illegal.
it should be illegal.
But
It's
anyway,
like, he's from Iceland.
So she gives him a
man.
hug.
so the first time we see,
on his leg. Yeah, that's his leg.
the first time we saw Hulk in this movie, though, I thought it was great. He said, wasn't it at the diner or whatever?
Yes.
And it flips to
When
him.
they reveal, yeah, he's so chill and
He's
it's like he's
so
stoned the
meek.
whole movie.
Yes.
Yeah, he's just like,
It's
hey
fuck-
guys,
Hey. Takes
like,
the selfies.
love,
and-
not war. And I'm like, this is the Hulk.
I
Like, what
know.
the fuck? But it's great. I like it.
It was- 'cause
And
it
the
was Mark
music,
Ruffalo.
All
Yeah,
the music
yeah.
is playing every time they show him. It's like this fucking acoustic,
Little
like
ditty.
hillbilly shit or
Yeah.
whatever. I love it.
It was great. It was just like all these things they were doing with all these characters. I was like, I was down for it. I like Hawkeye's whole thing where I think it was
like
his,
the beginning of the movie.
yeah. I think this
Sets
is the
that up.
best depiction of his character because he's kind of gotten people have been like,
He's
He
got
hasn't- he never got his
screen
own
time.
movie.
no, he never got his
He
own.
got screen time.
Yeah,
That's
and
what-
I mean he was a zombie for half the first Avengers movie because Loki made him into kind of a zombie character.
Yeah.
But this one, it was like starts off. The movie starts with him and his family at the barbecue again, establishing that whole world.
Didn't he break into that military base to free Loki, and that's why he was a zombie? Wasn't that the scene?
There was, yeah. I don't think to free him.
It was like the
no,
flying,
he was there.
the
He was.
flying city thing, right?
You're talking about the first Avengers movie when
Yeah.
no, Hawkeye wasn't freeing him. Hawkeye was there, and Loki was breaking out or whatever. And
But didn't he use him to break out? That's what I'm saying. He
used Hawkeye to break out.
Okay.
Exactly.
I was just trying to
Yeah.
remember the
Yeah,
scene.
that's what
It's
happened.
weird looking back, thinking like of Loki as a villain,
Yeah,
and now it's like
we were sad when he died.
yeah.
Say-
Well,
kinda-
he
just
did
kinda
a big
saving
turn in
Thor.
Ragnarok.
He
Like
did.
in Ragnarok, he was like a hero, like
Yeah.
a good guy.
Yeah.
He
Or
was
an
like
anti-hero.
no,
He was
Yeah.
always
an
he was
anti-hero.
always in the middle. That
But
was
he had
Loki's whole
turned.
thing.
He realized there are people that are way worse than him,
Yeah.
and he's like, I don't like those.
Even in the
people.
first movie, though, you were like, he wasn't all bad. Like, he was trying to do that whole world thing, but he
Yeah.
was also, like, subservient to all these people, and he couldn't control them, right? He was just trying. He felt slighted and shafted, and he was trying to get this power that he really never earned or deserved.
yeah,
Yeah.
He's like, I don't want to kill people, but I would sure love to rob someone.
Yeah.
yeah.
So I like, anyway, Endgame, Hulk, Big Lebowski.
We didn't even. Yeah,
fucking
we
dude,
barely mentioned
Thor.
that reveal where they go to like New Asgard.
New Asgard.
New
yeah.
Asgard up
Yeah.
in Norway.
Sweden, Norway,
Yeah.
Denmark, somewhere.
And they pull up, and they Hulk and who was the other one?
Raccoon?
It's
Raccoon.
Rocket.
Rocket.
Yeah.
Rocket Raccoon. Yeah.
Yeah, they go to get Thor, and like they go into this little shack or whatever on top of the hill, where it's like his castle or whatever, and he's sitting in there with the two guys
Playing Fortnite.
And like sitting there screaming at little kids, you gonna cry to your mommy? Like it's so, and he's just got this huge beer belly and these like Rasta dreads.
That's right.
Oh my God, it was like the funniest shit. Like I was just like, is this happening right
Literally,
now?
I was like,
Thor,
this
this
is
is
what-
the guy who's like the Jason Momoa of Marvel world,
Yes.
I guess.
Not
you
anymore,
could
yeah.
say.
Yeah,
But-
and he's got the gut.
And they
whole
kept
movie.
him fat the whole movie. And I was like, are they gonna like do a magic thing where he just uses his like Asgard god magic to like unfat himself, and he never does.
Yeah.
He could have, but he never does. Even
Yeah.
when he's fighting Thanos at the end, he's still fat.
Yeah,
Thor.
when he gets
Use
his whole-
lightning to burn some
when he gets the
Yeah.
hammer, when he gets the hammer and he gets the suit or whatever, you're like, oh shit, he's now Thor again. Be like, you look closely, he's still got
He's
a
still
gut.
fat. Yeah,
in
the
the
suit's
suit.
like pulled in the fat, but it's all still there.
He's
Yeah,
a fucking
so good.
dwarf, man.
Oh man,
Hilarious.
that was
great.
awesome.
He just
Yeah.
reminded me of Lord of the Rings, one of the dwarves.
Yeah. Oh my God.
Gimli.
But I even liked his like performance and his like like he doesn't even want to talk about it, and he's just like trying to like pretend none of this shit happened and like disappear into this whole, whatever. Like play video games, get drunk every day, like drink nonstop. It was like, and then his story is that he ends up going back to get one of the Infinity Stones from his mom, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Well,
who
no.
died
So
in
he
the
goes
second
back.
movie.
No.
No,
He
from
sees his
girlfriend.
mom.
From his girlfriend.
But she's about to die. Like she's gonna die that day. I think the day he
Yes.
goes back.
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
exactly. It's in Natalie Portman's.
Yeah, she has.
Which
Natalie
is
Portman
weird.
has
Is it like it's in her blood or something like that? Isn't it?
Yeah.
It's
something
a thing like
She's
that.
like poisoned
Goddamn.
by it. Or
I probably
something.
should watch this again. Yeah, and they have to get it out of her or something like that.
But
Was it?
Yeah, because there was the whole thing where
Because Rocket got it. I don't.
that
I
was
don't
even
remember
weird
any
that
like.
they didn't do reshoots. I don't think with
I
Natalie
don't
Portman. They
remember.
just used scenes from the other movie.
no,
or
that's
did
what
they
I thought.
actually-
No, I thought they were gonna do that because the first scene seemed like that wasn't really.
It was
her. That
weird.
a
It was
body
almost like
double,
she's
and then they
there.
showed her. No, then they
Yeah.
actually showed
No,
her.
I know they show her.
Yeah.
But I thought those were just scenes they had taken from the second one.
I don't think
Dark,
so because
whatever.
I don't think so. It looked like it was done for this movie the way those scenes played out.
I don't know if I
Angles.
would want to be in the movie if they're just gonna like shoot me walking down a hall.
No, it was more than that. It showed her in the room. It's like there was a scene.
She had
with
lines.
her. Probably
she
a
have
day
lines?
shooting. Yeah. She had lines.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I think it's funny because they set her up as like the love of his life in the first movie or
Oh my
two.
God, and then just
this
throw it
one, he's
away.
just talk about her as his ex. Like he's just like, oh, it's my ex. It's gonna be awkward. Like it's
Yeah, I don't know. That was
which
so weird.
I think that was good though.
Maybe that's
because
why
you don't
people
want
didn't like the
everybody.
second one.
Maybe, but I like that because it's not like every person that has that has to be the love of their life, and this is like that fairy tale thing. You know what I mean? It's sort of
Yeah.
like, oh, this is just that's
No,
what
I-
happens when you start out a relationship.
Something happened like in between the making of the first movie and the second where they were just like, she's out.
She was in the second movie.
No, I know, but I mean,
Yeah.
something happened where they decided to do a whole shift in that character arc or
You think
whatever.
so?
Yeah.
Yeah, something happened. There
think
was some
something
stories. I
happened
never
behind-
know
there
what,
was-
but there was
yeah.
some story that she didn't come back. There was like some issue.
Like
or
she didn't
something.
want to come back or there was
I
something
don't know if
like
they
that.
they didn't work well together or something. I don't
Yeah,
know.
I don't
know.
think that's what it is. I just think it's just probably she
guy.
maybe not
Super
didn't want
optimistic
to.
guy.
No, I think that maybe she didn't want to, like come back, but I don't think there was like some falling out. I don't know. I mean, I could
No,
be totally wrong.
I thought
No,
I read some
yeah.
stories about it, some
I
headlines.
mean, it could be rumor.
You're literally.
I read headlines. That's
no,
what
I
do.
really did.
You
That's like
barely-
90% of
you-
people.
You skim headlines.
Dude,
you
I'm
don't
in the
even read
majority.
them.
I'm in the majority, all right? Most people only read the headlines.
you're a
They don't
cliche.
read the
So you're a
articles.
cliche.
I know what's happening. How can you keep track what's going on in the world reading everything? You would go crazy.
Quantum Realm. That's the name of the thing. I was trying to find the fucking name of the Quantum Realm is what they go into.
Oh,
I'm saying,
yeah.
I knew it wasn't the Phantom Zone. That was
Yeah.
a joke. But like
But
Quantum Realm.
I did want to say I really liked that exchange between Lethal Weapon girl and
He's the weapon girl, Rene Russo.
Rene Russo.
Her,
there
him
it
and his
is.
mom. That was his other.
I
his
loved it. I
closure.
love that exchange between them two, and like he wanted to tell her what was going to happen,
didn't wanna
but
know,
she didn't want to
yeah.
know, and you kind of got that she knew. and
She
was,
knew
like,
that who he
waiting
was.
for it.
She's like, oh, you're not.
Yeah, you're
son
not
from
my
now.
son from now. Yeah, I thought that was great, and then they
Yeah.
could have that whole conversation, and he could kind of break out of his thing.
Yeah, his
you know,
fun.
and
He was
come back.
crying. Like he was literally emotional.
he was-
He's
that's
done
the only-
really good in these last couple
Yeah.
films. Like his first two Thor movies, I liked them, and I liked him in Avengers.
Yeah.
Like between Ragnarok,
Yeah.
Infinity War, and this, and especially Ragnarok and
Yeah.
Endgame, fucking Chris Hemsworth killing it with his Thor character.
Yeah.
He
That's
just
the only thing I
really
didn't like
changed
about
it
his
up.
character was the fact that he, to me, almost crossed the line being he was too much of a baby.
Right.
During those scenes. But I mean,
I liked it because I didn't want everybody to be a hero. Like, in
Dude,
that
he
way,
lost
you know?
like everything.
You wanted different.
Yeah.
But he lost his
characters and
brother.
different, you
He
know.
lost his,
But he would
his
cry
dad. He
in,
lost
like-
his entire city.
He cried
he
like
lost
that.
world, his whole planet.
whole world. Like he's literally the last of there's a
Asgardian,
handful
basically.
of.
But
Yeah,
it's like when you
in
take
New
a character
Asgard.
from
Yeah.
one side to another side, it's almost like they made sure that they hit each end. Like,
Yeah.
he's like super god.
Yeah.
Now he's just the super
Fat Fortnite player.
Like it almost went. They stretched it almost
Yeah.
too far for me. But I mean, it worked. No,
It
was
worked
fine.
though.
It was
Yeah,
fine.
yeah. They it's a fine line, and they
Yeah.
handled it really
They
well.
yeah. I'm
yeah.
still like excited about how they told the story. So.
yeah.
That was great. I mean, I'm trying to think what else. I was surprised that what's her name from Guardians of the Galaxy had like such a big arc in the story.
Gamora?
Like,
That was the other one.
the sister,
Oh yeah.
Like with the robot
Karen Gillan,
sister.
Yeah.
Fuck, I forgot her name. Nebula.
Nebula. Yeah,
Yeah.
But that was it.
That was,
Dr.
like,
Doom
surprising,
Or Skull
like, yeah.
or Red Skull.
Yeah, Red Skull showed up.
Again,
he was back there at the
That Hawkeye.
Death Stone thing.
Black Widow. That
Black
whole
Widow.
thing. Jesus.
I mean, the way they handled it was great. Like, I feel like they handled death in such a way in this movie that like it wasn't sad.
Yeah.
Let me
Like,
tell you something.
understood the
There
motivation
were such
and
big
why.
stakes. That's
We
why.
had
Like,
lunch
you're
bets.
talking about literally like reversing the biggest catastrophe they've ever had in movie history. Really,
Yeah.
this is the biggest.
I mean, you
thing
understand
that's
That
why
scene-
Black Widow does what she does.
Yeah.
Yeah, that scene was the most like fucking like dramatic scene for me. The reason why is because we had lunch bets at work, and
Yeah.
I said that the two characters that are most like they can't kill off everyone. Everybody was like, oh, this person's gonna die. This person's gonna. I was like, no, they can't kill off everyone. That doesn't work.
Yeah.
And I thought it was gonna be Black Widow because there's really not much more that she can.
She's got her own movies
Step
coming
up.
out.
She doesn't have.
Yeah.
but
She's got her
it's
own
a
movies
prequel,
coming out.
right?
Prequel, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah. So it was her and Iron Man. I figured he
I
was going
always
to
thought
give
her
up.
and Captain America were going to hook up.
See,
but
I
they,
never
like,
thought.
Never
See,
do.
I always was against
They
that.
never hook up, and I'm like, you're against it?
No.
I mean, she
I
is.
thought you were
They
gonna talk
are
about him
polar
dying.
opposites. Like
It
Captain
was,
America.
it was her and Mark and Hulk and Bruce Banner who had the flirtation.
They have a
thing
connection,
going
yeah,
on.
yeah.
Those are the two they've been setting up.
Yeah.
Did they had a connection.
They
Like,
had
they
a
were
connection.
always. She
But then
came-
they just dropped it.
She's the one who came
No.
to get him in the beginning of Avengers. Remember when he was in the middle of that
She was
jungle?
the only one that can calm
Smart
him.
Hulk
They
or
never dropped
Brain
it.
Hulk
They mentioned it in this film.
could have started something, and he doesn't.
He's the one who gets really upset when he finds
Does
out
he
she's
ever
dead. When
see
they all
her?
come back and he's like, and
Yeah.
Hawkeye's like, she's gone. Like you get the idea that she's gone. It's
Yeah.
the Hulk who has the biggest
He never
emotional
sees her.
reaction to
Yeah,
it.
he never sees her in this film.
No, I think he saw her before
feel
she
like
went into the
there's no-
quantum realm. Before she went in, he
he?
saw her. Yeah. He would have because we were both there.
Oh, that's right.
yeah.
Yeah.
But they don't.
But,
I feel
like-
like there's no scene where they like engage each other or like acknowledge that.
No, there was a scene where
There
they
may be one-
redid the touch, how she like touched him.
Touched it. She touched it. He's like, just touch it for a second.
No, how she touched his face.
Oh, his face. Is that what
No.
we're calling it?
No.
So,
No, Nick.
all right.
But anyways, but that scene with why you flinch? It's not real. Hulk's not a real character.
I'm just saying, like,
an
Hulk
overgrown
needs to hook
pickle.
up with She-Hulk. Like that makes sense.
Yeah.
I just can't even imagine.
with
Unless
a
he
human.
becomes Bruce Banner, then
Yeah.
it's okay.
Yeah.
No.
Which he doesn't seem to be flipping back anymore. He's stuck in that thing. He's
I don't know if he's stuck.
He's not.
I feel like he did something to himself to become like in the middle.
found the
point.
medium.
Yeah.
He found the middle. Yeah. I think he is. I don't know. Stuck is not the right word,
Well-
but I think he's permanently in that state.
Yeah, the reason I brought that
settled
up,
in for right
the
now.
love interest, is because her motivation is like, oh, I don't have anybody. You have a family, so I should be the one that dies.
No, I think like she was
Right?
Yes,
a character.
and that is the point. But he's honorable enough where he tries to do it. That whole fight towards the end of the cliff, I thought that was really
Who's
handled
gonna?
No,
well.
that was the whole
Who's gonna
point.
sacrifice themselves or
But
whatever?
it can't, like he's like
He
blowing
still
her
had a
up.
storyline, and
Yeah.
she. I mean, if you look at her films, she's a great
She
character.
was right.
but she didn't have
Connections.
like. She couldn't go up anymore. Like within
slurping
He's
into
slurping.
that microphone.
She couldn't go up anymore in the story arc. She's an incredible fighter. She's fought like it was.
Yeah, where's she gonna
Where's
go?
she gonna go? So I thought she was gonna die, and then I thought
Captain
Iron
America.
Man.
You said Captain America.
No, I never said. No, I was
You
the
didn't?
opposite. I was like, "There's no way Captain America's gonna die." I said he was gonna do exactly how the fucking movie did.
Yeah.
Where he was gonna go back in time and he was gonna stay there because they kept referencing that. They kept bringing up the story almost every time you saw him.
Yeah,
kept
they would bring up
referencing back
like,
his
this
girlfriend.
woman, and I'm like,
Yeah,
dude, she's
he kept
dead.
going.
Agent
I was like,
Carter.
"You're bringing this
Dead,
up too
man.
much. There's something
Agent
over."
Carter's
Yeah.
dead. Like, move on, bruh.
Yeah, that's the only place. And if you see the storyline, one of the things that he keeps saying throughout the films and the last film was he wanted to go home.
Right.
He wanted to be home, and he always brought her with the picture and stuff. And I knew for a fact they weren't going to kill Captain. Not for a fact, but I knew they weren't going to kill him because they brought that up too much.
Yeah.
And became like a point in the storyline.
I really did like his thing where he goes back to replace all the stuff, right? The Infinity Stones in time. So that he doesn't.
Oh,
disrupt.
yeah,
He
yeah,
had to
the
go
end
back and
end.
put them all. Yeah, he had to go put them all back, right?
Yeah.
At the end, he had to go put them all back, and then he just doesn't come back. I love that scene. Then he's on the park bench as the old man.
Yeah.
Like I just thought that. Remember that Captain America?
right,
Yeah. He
yeah.
goes. The thing he has to do
He
is
should have come back within
Yeah.
5 seconds, and then he
Yes.
doesn't show up. And then next thing you know, like 10 seconds later or whatever,
He's
he's,
an
sitting
old
on a
man on a
bench, and
bench.
he's like,
I was so
excited.
excited. I won
that?
lunch.
Yeah.
I won
Yeah.
lunch.
So that old man.
It was
I
a
really,
different actor too.
That's what I thought. It wasn't.
It wasn't. No.
Really?
That was him.
That was the.
That was him.
If that wins Oscar for makeup on that one alone,
Was that all makeup?
it's
or was
makeup
that
and
CG?
slight CG. No, it's makeup
Okay.
and slight CG. But the way they did it,
I didn't recognize him.
I thought he was the old dude from fucking Saving Private Ryan. Like,
That's what
was
I
like,
thought.
yeah.
I was like, it's
Yeah.
Matt Damon.
Yeah, it's a great
I was
guy.
like,
Yeah.
he got a cameo.
Yeah.
in
Yeah.
fucking, Endgame.
But
By the
that
way,
was-
they're bringing Saving Private Ryan back to theaters. That's cool.
Oh, that's cool.
Are they?
Yeah.
Nice.
Oh, wow.
But that scene with him, I literally thought that was a different actor, and I looked it up and I was like, oh my god. And
No,
I think
that
they may have affected his voice a little bit in editing. Like I don't know what whatever they did. That was the greatest aging shit like I had ever seen. Where I literally thought it was a different person. I usually could tell, but they changed his eyes.
Yeah.
And everything like that. That was pretty incredible.
The greatest aging scene I've ever seen was when Xavier and Magneto went back in time to see.
You mean younger, Jean Grey in the beginning of Last Stand?
Jean Grey, yeah.
In the beginning-
They made him look incredible.
I don't know.
And
They
worked
did. It
because
was
you have
CG,
to
but-
think about it. Was definitely
I
CG.
meant aging, like where you made him older.
Yeah, I
but
was
you're
just
talking about
thinking-
making him younger. You're talking about
We're talking about making him
de-aging.
younger.
That's the
De-aging.
best
You gotta watch
aging.
Westworld when they make there's scenes with Anthony Hopkins where he's a young man and he's
Yeah,
like
that's pretty
running
good.
around.
Yeah.
That is really good.
It's,
Yeah.
but I would say that's on par with Robert Downey Jr. in I think the beginning of Civil War.
Yeah.
where they show him as a young man talking to his father in that hologram thing.
Oh, I don't
Remember
remember.
that? And then they had Michael Douglas as a young Michael Douglas in Endgame.
Oh,
and,
yeah,
and
very
also
true. Yeah,
as
very
Hank
true.
Pym.
Yeah, those were good ones.
And they
yeah.
did him in the.
That was very good.
Yeah,
Yeah, that was very good.
So I think sometimes they do a good job.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's really Gemini Man looks like they're gonna do a decent job with Will
Oh my
Smith.
god, yeah, that looks
Yeah,
weird.
Ang Lee.
It's weird looking.
Yeah.
All right, what's the
Diego's
final
not
thoughts?
feeling
I
it.
want,
Yeah.
They must have like a double, some guy that looks like Will Smith
Yeah.
playing himself, and then they just like do a very light CG.
Maybe.
It's like tracking.
No,
because
because you need
his,
you need his body and his movements to be
Yeah.
as natural as possible to Will Smith.
That's what I'm saying. They have like a body double with
No.
similar features. Like a lot
no,
of
what
times
I'm
they'll
saying
do
is
that,
that
and
the
then they'll just
movement
do
itself
CG.
is probably Will Smith's movement. You know what I'm saying?
No, they do.
You think he's playing both characters?
Yeah, he
like
is
old
playing both
himself
characters.
and young himself.
He is playing both characters.
He does have a double.
young himself. And
You
old
talked about
himself?
it. He
like-
does have a double. He
I
introduced
should
him
say
in
young
his
self.
Instagram.
and
Name of your
old
autobiography.
self.
Yeah, he introduced
Yeah.
him in his Instagram.
Instagram.
Yeah.
Oh,
So,
wow.
But let's final thoughts.
Okay, final thoughts on Endgame. I thought this was a really good cap. One of the best Marvel movies, and it happened to be the last one in this whole series.
Second to last.
This is the last one in the whole.
Spider-Man ends it.
According to what's his name in an interview, yeah, he said that's the last movie of this story
Of
arc.
this phase,
Of
really?
this phase, yeah. Kevin Feige or whatever.
Really?
He said it in
I didn't
China.
know
'Cause
that.
it's
in
basically
China, and they're
Spi-
like, "This is the last movie" at a press conference or whatever, and he was like, "Actually, Spider-Man is," and it was like the first time he ever said.
Oh, I
Spider-Man.
didn't know that at
Yeah.
all. Oh, that's interesting.
So
Okay.
Spider-Man is basically him dealing with being
the fallout of it,
Yeah,
which is
yeah.
what you see in the newest trailer, which is a spoiler trailer because you'd have to see
Yeah,
Endgame
him
before
and
you see
dealing
it.
with Happy and
And Tony being gone. Interesting. I didn't know that. I never heard that. Okay, so it's the second to last movie, but I feel like even though that might.
Funny that he knew that about
I
Marvel.
feel like we brought it up in the podcast.
No, we didn't. We didn't.
I'm
but-
pretty sure I did.
No, we didn't.
Maybe I didn't
I
make-
would have. Yeah, I edited the podcast, so I would know that.
Oh,
You
yeah,
know what I
maybe.
mean? But also just so you
I
know,
thought maybe I mentioned it to you outside of the podcast.
maybe you did. Okay,
Yeah.
that's possible. But do you know, like Neal, like really liked this movie. He was off Googling and watching videos about it afterwards.
Dude, after we watched it, I was like just reading like spoiler
For, like,
reviews
hours.
or
Yeah.
whatever, you know, and I was like, I liked it.
Yeah.
I was
you
like,
know-
shut up, everyone. It was great. I love Marvel. They've done everything great forever.
No, it was just like this is like the payoff movie.
Hashtag
Yeah,
Neal's
this,
up
that's
this
why-
was really well done.
You know, whatever. I just went in with no expectations,
Yeah.
which is the best way I think to go into any of these movies.
Yeah.
No expectations. Don't set them high.
Yeah.
Whatever. And I just went in and I was like, and I just could just enjoy the movie for what it was,
Right.
and it had a lot of humor, which I like.
Which
I
is
like when-
entertaining. It's entertaining.
Yeah, if you're dealing with like heavy shit, it's like give me some fucking humor.
Yes.
Like
Yeah.
make it light. You
It
know,
was
make
great.
it.
It was really good. I liked it.
digestible.
I really did. I have so like I can't speak enough on how much respect I have for their writing.
Yeah.
It's just amazing. It
And the
just
directors wrote
baffles
it?
my mind.
Or it was
Uh,
written.
I don't
No.
think
They have a
they
group
wrote
of
it.
writers.
Yeah, yeah.
No, they have a group of writers.
Okay.
It just baffles my mind.
I think
Like
it's two
such
guys.
a huge project, and you're still tracking little moments and little things that happen throughout this 11 years, and you're bringing them back in to make sure that everything aligns. That is such a concentration to detail. It is phenomenal. Like they literally, to me, I feel like they had, hey, keep track of that soda can because in the third film we're gonna bring that soda can back.
Yeah, that's
because
crazy.
It's just amazing. You
Yeah.
know, it's just
Yeah.
amazing. So
I will say there's a scene at the end after this. We didn't mention this, but Tony gets the gauntlet, snaps. They're
Yeah.
fighting Thanos or whatever, brings everyone back, but then they don't immediately show up, and then they get their asses whooped, and
Yeah.
it's like it's just Tony, Thor, and Cap
Yeah.
are fighting Thanos.
Yes.
And he's just fucking him up.
Yeah.
Like there's a couple moments where you think maybe they're gonna win. But he's whipping her ass, and then we didn't mention the
Doctor
the
Strange
Milner
circles.
or whatever. No, when Cap grabs Thor's fucking hammer and
Yeah.
he like,
Oh, yeah, he's
he's
able
like,
to
I
get the
knew
hammer.
it.
Yeah,
There's
he's
like
worthy.
that moment in itself, like that moment is like worth it just to see the movie if you've seen the other movies.
Yeah,
like,
'cause it's
that
a
was
real
just
payoff
fun. It's just a
movie.
fun moment. It's
Yeah.
like it doesn't mean shit really,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
it's fun, and that's like he keeps it right, doesn't he? Keep
Yeah,
the
yeah, and
hammer?
he's like keep it, and he gets his
Yeah.
own. Yeah, the
He
big
uses the other
axe
thing that he
yeah.
had made in the Infinity War.
Infinity
my
War.
my thing that I saw, the Easter egg that I saw,
Yeah.
that I was like, because it looked weird. It was like when you're looking at it, you know, when you're watching a movie, like something looks off, right? Was when I saw, and I am confirming that they are fucking doing this film.
Yeah.
Howard the Duck.
Yeah.
Like
Well,
I
they
saw,
showed-
she comes
they
out,
showed him
and
in
they all
Guardians.
come out.
Guardian of the Galaxy,
yeah. They showed them there once, and then they show them on both of them.
No,
two
just
films.
one- just one
No,
movie.
two, I think it was two.
I don't think so. but
I'm
maybe.
pretty sure it was
Okay.
two because one of them he had a speaking line. It might have been an after.
It was a speaking
like
line at the end
post-
of Guardians. It's a post credit scene at the end of Guardians. He's sitting there with
But he also was
Benicio
on the
del
other one.
Toro, and then he says a line. Yeah.
Yeah, but he also was in another
Okay.
one who he was in the background.
Okay.
Yeah, and this one is like everybody comes out with like these dark suits, and there's this white spot. I'm like, what the fuck is that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I saw like white spot, yellow beak. Howard the Duck. That's the
Right.
motherfucker. I was like,
Ah,
they're doing the film.
that's
They
cool.
showed them 3 times. They're doing
Yeah.
the film.
I do
That
like
would
that
make
scene
sense,
in
yeah.
Endgame where the Doctor Strange circle things come and all the fucking missing.
Yeah,
Avengers
that
come
I thought
in.
was
yeah.
like when it gets to that, then you're like, okay, this is
Yeah.
like a blockbuster epic.
This is a crescendo,
Movie. Like this is
yeah.
a movie
This
you
is-
want to see on the big screen
Yeah.
because there's
we-
what 30 Marvel
lead-
fucking
yeah,
people
lead
on
guys,
screen.
30 like lead. Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah,
like,
they
We need
all
to
just
talk
show
about,
up and start fighting. Like,
yeah.
I thought
we
that
need to do
was
a
great.
podcast
yeah.
on epic battle scenes because
That's a good idea.
That's one.
That is,
that would
yeah,
be great
Lord of
to
the Rings.
talk
Yeah.
about.
But I'll tell you something.
And then all the
How-
ladies join forces. They're like, "We
Yeah.
got this. These men can't handle it." And then all the
That was
ladies
the only
It's
thing
a-
that got me. I was like, man, that don't.
You don't
do
like.
not-
I just
you
know that
I don't
women
like
that
more
get their-
political stuff.
I
You
know
don't
that
like
everyone
talking-
noticed it, like, and everyone commented on it. I'm like, it's fine, it's whatever.
I thought
I
it
thought
was.
it was great.
I don't like when political
All I
shit
know is
starts
that
happening.
Captain Marvel
It
could
takes
have
you out of the movie,
snapped
but it's
Thanos'
important.
neck like in 2
I
seconds.
know, but
Yeah.
see, that's the thing.
Yeah.
I don't think anybody as an unequal. So it's kind of
Yeah.
like when I see that, I was like, you
Yeah,
didn't need that.
You,
The fuck's
you knew they were
great.
making a point,
Like,
and
yeah.
it kind of takes you out of the movie, and you're not thinking of the movie at that
Yeah.
point. You're thinking of another.
I know-
thing.
I did
I
talk
get
to
what you're saying,
people-
but it's also important for pushing things forward.
No,
but I
it's-
get what you're saying.
I get it. This is why I accept it.
I
yeah.
do get what you're saying.
I
Yeah.
was talking to somebody that's not a Marvel fan, and they just recently watched
Yeah.
some of these, and her thing was like, I don't understand why Captain Marvel showed up at the end and just like whooped everyone's ass. Like they're getting their asses whooped.
Yeah.
The whole sequence, even when all the other characters show up and you're like, oh my God, they got this.
Yeah.
Like Thanos still fucks him up.
Yeah.
And then Captain Marvel shows up, destroys his fucking, like
Where were you a half hour
his
ago?
space cruiser in like 10 seconds. She's like, zip, 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 zip. It's dead. And then she rolls down. She's just grabbing his hand like, no. And you're like, this bitch was here.
Yeah.
Like,
I know.
10 minutes ago, this whole thing would have been over, but I don't know.
It's true. I'm actually glad they didn't have her playing a big problem because her point was, I'm on all these other planets handling shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Earth is not the only
was a great
planet.
way to
I
handle
am
it, yeah.
galactic.
But
at this
Earth is
point.
where snaps happen,
Yeah.
which affected all that other shit. You know what I'm saying?
Why did he pick Earth to be where? Yeah, that's where all Infinity Stones. But can we talk about Doctor Strange for a second? How much of a piece of shit that guy is?
Why?
He
What?
went through all these scenarios and he goes, the only one that worked. There's only one that worked. It's
didn't
the
do
one that
that.
killed that. He's like, well, it kills Tony, but that one's acceptable. He
Yeah.
didn't just keep going until he found one that didn't kill Tony. He was like,
But
fuck
he
you, Tony.
looked
You're
through
expendable.
Millions.
Tony-
he replayed millions.
He was like, no, dude, there's only one.
There's
Tony's
only
like, you
one.
sure? He's like, yeah, just one, man. He's like, all right, cool, let's do it.
But he
You could have
died.
said it's the one where you die, motherfucker. Piece of shit.
was no one
I
when
want
he
to take that
died.
scene. I want to take that scene and put it like on a drive.
I feel like there were
on a drive-in.
two.
Hold on,
And one of them,
motherfucker.
Doctor Strange dies,
When
and
it
one of
dro-
them, Tony Stark
Nick.
dies. He's like, let's go with that one.
Stop stealing my joke.
Oh, is that what you were gonna say?
Yeah.
I wasn't done talking. Go ahead.
Asshole.
What's your joke?
No, I don't want to say it right now. I'm gonna make
It wasn't gonna be as funny when you said
It was gonna be
anyway.
fucking hilarious.
Okay, say it.
No.
What a pet.
Okay, I'm gonna say it. Okay. No.
Go ahead.
I want to take like drive-in scenes when you go order like some food at McDonald's and just have. What would you like, sir? Have his scene.
Oh, just the finger.
Just the
come
one.
up.
Finger
Just
come
the
up.
Just
one
the
finger.
one.
Just the one.
Just one death.
Welcome to McDonald's,
Just
man. Take your
one
order,
day.
please. And then just go.
All
right,
Wait,
well-
but hold on. It's coming.
Gosh,
I
the
forgot
end
about
of the
this.
podcast.
So,
It's the end game.
Hulk snapped
the
and
end
brought
game, yeah.
everyone back.
Yes.
And then Tony snapped to kill Thanos.
No.
Am I getting this confused?
No, Hulk. It did. Fuck.
Yeah,
what
Hulk
did, what
brought
was the,
everyone
what was the
back.
snap?
Hulk-
No, he didn't.
Snap brought people back to life.
Yeah.
Okay.
Tony
He
Snap
tried to bring what's her face, but
make
he
sure. Yeah.
couldn't. The Infinity Stone.
Well, she
Black
couldn't
Widow.
because it, no.
He said he tried really hard to bring back Black
Yeah,
Widow.
no, he couldn't bring her back because she made the seventh
See?
stone.
There's
She's-
so much shit happening.
No,
in this movie.
it's
This
not.
guy
No,
it's a
forgot.
3-hour
She's
movie.
ma-
It's
she
hard to
made the
keep up
fifth
with it.
stone.
I know,
She made
that's
the
what I'm
final
saying,
stone.
like-
So she can't come back.
But he could just go back in time.
No,
and like,
see, but once you snap, it's done. So he couldn't do that.
no, I'm saying that
If he brought her back, the snap wouldn't have happened because the stone needs to be there.
right.
It's either
That has-
the,
that-
sto-
she-
the
he-
it's
he
a
should have
life
thrown off a thing
for
for the stone. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the
Yeah.
that's the contract. It's a
Yeah.
life for a stone.
But they did bring what's her face back.
So, but she wasn't the case anymore because Black Widow was the case. Black Widow was the life. At that point, Gamora was not the life that was traded for the stone. It was Black
is
Widow.
that how was it explained?
Exactly.
Okay, so
Well,
basically,
yeah.
you just need someone to give up like some unnecessary
there has
character
to be a
sacrifice and then snap her back.
Yeah, so that was no way you can't snap her back
Or whatever.
There
Go
always
back-
has to be a
go
life
back in
that's
time.
given for it within that moment. So that's
Yeah.
why Gamora was alive and Black Widow was dead because Black Widow was the new exchange in this realm and what has happened. And then Tony Stark's snap is so the events wouldn't repeat itself.
They were to kill Thanos, but this is past Thanos, which I love that they did that. That whole thing where he's past Thanos, who's able to jump the line and get the
he brings
gauntlet.
his ship like through the fucking tiny portal.
But that
Yeah,
takes
or
you
whatever.
back
That was
to
great.
but that
That
takes
was
you back to
great.
Doctor Strange.
That's how Gamora
There's
comes
only
back. Yes.
one way. If that's really like a
She
sub
doesn't even
story
know
if you
him.
pay attention to it in Doctor Strange saying there's only one way because now you're looking at he came from the past, he figured it out, and he's getting ready to snap again.
Yeah.
So there's multiple ways that Thanos
Yeah.
gets to the snapping.
Right.
So that's why there's only one way.
Yeah.
I love it.
I actually really also one more thing because there's a lot of like great moments in
Don't
the
say one
wrap-up.
more thing because you probably have two more.
Probably. This will make me think of something else. Thor and Chris Pratt's
Star-Lord.
Star-Lord. Yeah.
Yeah, Peter Quill.
Yeah. Like their exchange. So basically, Thor leaves and joins his
Oh
crew,
my God, I
and
love
like
that.
their exchange of who's captain of the ship. Like I was like, I'm
like,
like
he's gonna-
sold. I'm fucking sold.
Thor's gonna kill him in his sleep.
I'm excited for Guardians of the Galaxy.
I
with
love the
Thor
fact how they
and
do
Guardians
that,
of the
yeah.
Gal-
Like-
I hope he's in it. I
Thor's
don't
like,
know if he
no,
will be,
it's
but-
your ship. No.
No, oh yeah, you're the
yeah,
captain.
yeah.
You're the captain. Yeah, sure.
And now you're like, he's gonna
Like
kill
he
him in his
says
sleep.
it in that way where he makes him doubt himself. Yeah,
That
I'm
was
the ca-
great.
It's awesome.
Oh, it's
It's
so
There's
awesome.
so much good shit
And then
in
they
this
could
film.
basically like reboot Gamora's thing because she doesn't.
Know
she's
him.
like past Gamora who had never met him.
So she doesn't have any of those events in her mind. That's
Yeah.
so interesting.
Yeah.
I gotta watch it again because it's an over 3 hour movie. There's so much that goes
Yeah.
on. And like we're taking up all these
Especially
scenes. I'm like,
towards
oh,
the
yeah.
end, it's like boom, like all
Boom,
these
boom,
moments of like
Yeah,
you know,
exactly.
trying to keep track of
Yeah.
everything.
And by the way, that kid in that funeral scene where it goes through all the different groups that are by themselves, or whatever, and it shows a kid right before
Iron
the
Man
stairs.
2.
Iron Man
Iron Man
3.
2.
Three.
Iron Man
Yeah,
3.
that's
Yeah,
right,
he's
yeah.
the kid
He's
who
going
helps
to become
him.
the new Tony Stark.
Yeah, maybe.
That's the rumor.
That doesn't-
Why would they have him in the end of the movie if they weren't going to use
Because
him
he
in
was
later
an
movies?
important part in
Yeah.
Tony's life.
Everybody was- it was
that was
important,
very
yeah.
significant in that movie. So
No.
to like not have him would almost be like, well, what happened to that kid? It's sort of like acknowledge him.
Yeah.
I just remember him standing out and be like, I don't know who the fuck that is.
I
and
didn't
had
know
to
either.
Google it
I had to look at it.
afterwards.
Yeah, that's the only one I didn't.
Yeah, I
recognize.
didn't know.
Yeah.
I didn't know. Yeah.
Anyways, great movie.
Good
All right, guys.
Yeah. Surprisingly,
I said that way too early. You guys are still saying your thing, so I'm sorry. That was
all right.
on me. All me.
I was impressed.
Yes.
I'm not saying I'm back on board.
But you were happy with
You're
that
on
one.
board.
I'm happy with this
Yeah,
resolution.
you're ready for the next
This was in the
movie.
top 5.
I don't know. I don't even know if I'll see the
Well,
Spider-Man
Marvel
one in
No.
theaters or whatever.
yeah.
But
Unless you just come with me.
unless you guys see it and you're like, oh my god, it was as good as Endgame, then I'll go
No.
see it. But
Yeah.
I don't think.
Well,
That's
I don't
gonna
think it
be
will
the
be.
case.
It won't be
Yeah.
as good as Endgame. I don't. Endgame's Endgame. Like I think that really was top 5, possibly number 1. You know what I mean? It's up there. It's in the top 5 of Marvel movies.
I would rewatch that movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There you go. That's That's
There you go.
high praise.
You waited 11 years for this, Nick. You waited 11 years for Nick.
This is literally my end game. I'm gonna kill us both now in sweet suicide.
All right, guys. Well, thank you for joining us here at Get to the Podcast. Let's get to the podcast with the number 2. My name is Thiago D'Souza.
I'm Nick Gambino.
And I'm Neil Carson.
Endgame. I'm talking about
Yeah.
that Endgame.
This is the end game.
Wow, 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 wow.
What is that?
I don't know. I made it up. I was trying to come up with a theme song.
You're still here? It's over. Go home. Go.